a new country, or become a state, If I were to make a decision on this, I would look at the land size. Land is very important. If you have large land, normally you may have several resources, gold, diamond, bauxite. My country, Guyana, is 83,000 square miles, and we have bauxite, iron ore, gold, diamond, and so on. Puerto Rico is about 5,015 square miles, and you have nickel, I think copper, and there may be some oil. Now, why land is so important? You would want to be able to do your mining, which would, create some jobs and bring in income. Then you would have your agricultural activities, your wheat, rice, whatever you want to plant. And then you have living and other areas that will support living. I looked at 4 countries. Japan, I throw Japan in because Japan is an island, and it has about 377 square kilometers, and it doesn't have any resources. But yet it's about the 4th economy in the world. So what about Puerto Rico? Well, of course, Japan has a different history, and you'd have to take that into consideration to understand why they're doing well without resources and other things. Then you look at the population. We have here close to 4 million. Japan has 126 million. You have the Dominican Republic, you have Cuba, and you have Mexico. They all are larger in land, and they have more people. But yet, many of their citizens are here, of course, and they're trying to get some of the wealth. We are performing better than most of them. In fact, Puerto Rico is the pearl of the Caribbean and Latin America. And there are some reasons for this. Your GDP is about 52 billion. And the per capita, each person gets about 16,300. Japan, of course, gets 34,000. Cuba is about 10,000. The Dominican Republic is about 9, and Mexico is about 14. So we're ahead. Then, of course, when you look at exports and imports, we export more than we import. So we have a favorable balance of payment. And I think it's only Japan that has, but Mexico, Dominican Republic, and Cuba, they do not have that favorable balance of payment. Then we look at a part of the population. We go on to look at the economy which I'm working at here. When you're importing more than you export, that deficit has to be made up somewhere. And in Puerto Rico's case, the budget, you receive about $6.7 trillion in revenue, and the government spends about 9.6. But the United States, Mr. Pelosi speaks to the Congress and so on, and he gets whatever he needs much of the time and move on with it. Then we look at defense. All these other nations have a defense force. Puerto Rico does not have one. And so in case anybody tries to get out of hand with Puerto Rico, the United States will come in and shoot it up and finish with that. If we were to go independent, we'd have to have our own military. And military expenditure is very huge, especially in the modern warfare. Your missiles, your F-15s, your tankers, your soldiers, all that. It's a whole bunch of money to outlay. And of course, if you are building your own equipment, it's going to add to the GDP, but usually there's no production there, you see. You pay out money, it's a service, and they're protecting the nation real good. I looked at the laws, and there's an individual in San Juan that told me, he said, look, why I do not like to become a state, I prefer to be a país. He says, I don't like the laws of the United States. Well, I didn't ask him what laws he was talking about because, he's my superior and you could have problems if you get onto that. But I was wondering if he's talking about if I have a dog and walking down the street, whether I should pick up the poop, Or if I hire somebody to do some work for me and he doesn't do it well, whether I should take him to court. But recently I saw where one of the legislators, he said, look, why I do not like to become a state, I prefer to be a país. He says, I don't like the laws of the United States. Well, I didn't ask him what laws he was talking about because, he's my superior and you could have problems if you get onto that. But I was wondering if he's talking about if I have a dog and walking down the street, whether I should pick up the poop, Or if I hire somebody to do some work for me and he doesn't do it well, whether I should take him to court. But recently I saw where one of the legislators, was saying that he needs to up the ante, and if somebody shoots a car, that perhaps it would be capital murder, whatever. No, you don't execute, so I guess he's going to get life in prison for that. I don't know what the consequences for that right now, but I'm not an attorney, but usually up in the States, there are about 4 reasons why you'll get capital murder. If you intended to kill the person, if you use a deadly weapon, if this killing was done within a certain prescribed felonies, and if there was a high disregard for the human life. So this principle of high disregard, and then of course you got deadly weapon, will fit in for anything. If somebody shoots in here and somebody dies, it's capital. Shoot in a bus, train, anywhere where people are. You need to know that people would be there, or you should have known, and shoot and kill anybody, it's dangerous. But this individual tells me, look, I know that Puerto Rico is small and bananas and coffee and so forth can't swing this boat, In other words, we can't sustain ourselves with our production, so, we might need US for that and whatever. But he concludes that when he retires, he wants to go to Arizona and live in the countryside, you be quiet and so forth. Another concern I'm looking at, if we decide to go Pais, I guess the government is going to try to phase things out or in. They will say that at a certain time, you need to tell us whether you want to remain a citizen of the United States or a citizen of Puerto Rico. That's the new name. But what if everybody says we want to still be the citizens of Puerto Rico, of the United States when we're independent? Then something is wrong. I mean, the government might say, well, look, we don't think that as a separate nation that you could still be a United States citizen. I don't know how that would work out. Would everybody go up to the States to maintain that or whatever? I don't know. However, the last one I want to look at is international relations. My country, of course, was a colony of Britain, and we've had a different experience to what you have here. They would take our stuff up to Britain, their boats and their planes, add value to it, and then send it back to us and sell it at a higher price. But I think there are some Fortune 500 companies that are operating here. They import things, manufacture it, and then sell it back to the States. This is why perhaps we have that big surplus in our net exports. We export 34.9 billion, and we import 25.3 billion. And so, if I were to make a decision as to which way I think that I would like to go if I were a Puerto Rican, I think being number 51 would be cool, because the international community is very brutal. When we look at the United States experience and when we look at Haiti's experience, I think it could give us a little view as to how our relationship may be. Britain and Haiti declared independence on England and France. France supported America, and the other Europeans very quietly did not join with Britain to come and attack or anything. They just, let things slide. And of course, there are other things involved, but America became a very powerful nation. On the other hand, with Haiti, Haiti declared independence from France, and the whole of Europe decided to embargo or whatever they did to Haiti, set up a whole bunch of barriers. And today, Haiti is one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere. I don't know. There's a gentleman, I was in a line in a certain place. I was at the last, and this person came up and went straight up and got served. So I said, well, I was here before this person. So the guy told me, see, that's a white man, So, I'm dark, and so I have to give deference to this brother. I didn't worry about it, because it wasn't important. But you see, as there was a conference on campus here where a scholar from, I think it's Edinburgh, was here and he was speaking. This world is very unforgiving, and I might think a variety of things about myself, but the reality out there is brutal. And as Haiti's problem in the past, how do you think Europe will relate to you? I mean, when we're facing the world, we're not facing the world as Puerto Rico, we're facing the world as the United States. So that the United States clout and influence and power and all that helps us to get things done. Now, I think what we need to do is be able to kind of see exactly what part of our economy and our life is directed by America. In other words, we have 4 million people. We have these amount of resources. And if America decides that I'm going to take these things and stay upstate, I mean, what are we going to have to work with? Will that be enough to really help us to, move up? And, hurricanes are very damaging. The last tornado came through, some trees fell down, the president declared Puerto Rico a little disaster area and sending some millions. If, unluckily, say like 3 or 4 things should hit us up, I mean, it costs money, maybe $1 billion. I mean, will we be able to earn that kind of money real quick to take care of business? So all I'm saying is that the past might have been brutal, the present might be brutal, but you got to sit down and rationally look at this and say, well, yeah, I'm 8 years old, I'm at puberty, I have my girlfriend over here. Should I go and get my own house, or should I, stay with my parents and, when I grow up and I get a job and so forth, they might even build a house for me on the land, or, go out and face the world. I can't even get a job because I'm just 8 or 9. Are you following me? Yeah. So I'm saying that forget the past, look at the future and see what will work for you. And if you think that's going to work for you, I'm with you. Anything you want to do, I'm with you. I have no agenda. I will not knock you in your head if you make a decision that I think that may not necessarily be the best in the long term. So very rationally, look at your options, look at, what you're going to do and make a decision. And I don't know, because you see, when my country became independent about almost 50 years ago, to today, we're not too far from Haiti, We're almost trailing Haiti. Of course, we made some blunders. We went socialist and communist and all that kind of stuff, and England and America and everybody else did things that I don't understand, but we're last. We're in serious trouble. And many of the people of my generation, we wonder if colonialism might have still worked for us. And also we wonder whether Britain wanted to get rid of us and did a backdoor thing and let us come and ask for independence because they wanted to get rid of us because the future was, difficult. And if you have all these people and things, and right up in Europe, and you have to support them in a way, But I don't think this is the case with America. I think America loves Puerto Rico. America would like Puerto Rico to be the 51st state. It would like it to continue to be the pearl of the Caribbean. The education, the health care, all the good stuff that, we have. So as I said, you look at it carefully, make a decision, and I trust that everything works well, and God bless Puerto Rico.